Hello 9th class students. Today we will study about atoms and molecules. In our previous video of this chapter we have studied about the atoms and the important symbols of some atoms. Now students, in this video we will study about the atomic mass, atomic number and how the formula of the compounds are written. So students, let's start with first of all atomic number. Students, as we have seen the structure of the atom, in the structure of the atom you studied that in center it is nucleus of the atom and around the nucleus some path of the fixed energy are found which are known as orbitals, and these orbitals have fixed energy level. But the center part of the atom, that is called nucleus, have proton and neutron in it. As we know that the atom is constituted by main three subatomic particles, and the name of the subatomic particles are proton represented by small p, neutron represented by small n, and electron represented by small e. These are the three subatomic particles which are present inside an atom. Now if we talk about the charge on these particles, then we found that proton is positively charged, neutron has no charge on it, it is neutral, and electron is negatively charged. So students, inside the nucleus proton and neutrons both are present, but between these only proton have positive charge and neutron have no charge. Consequently, we can say that the nucleus of the atom is positively charged, and outside the nucleus in the orbitals electrons are present and electrons are negatively charged. So we can say that outside the nucleus there is negative charge on an atom. Now students, if we talk about a neutral atom, we take the example of neutral atom, then in a neutral atom always number of proton is equal to number of electrons. So the charge of the electron and proton get balanced from each other, and effectively there is no charge on the atom. As the neutron have no charge, so in terms of the charge we will not take the neutron. Now if we see the atomic number, then the meaning of the atomic number is that total number of protons present inside the nucleus of an atom is known as atomic number. In terms of atomic number, only the number of protons are considered and not the number of neutron. And in a neutral atom, number of protons is equal to number of electrons. So we can say that number of electrons is also atomic number, but in definition we always consider that number of protons are known as atomic number. Secondly students, atomic mass. Now if we talk about the atomic mass, then we consider the number of protons as well as number of neutrons both, but number of electrons is not considered in atomic mass also. So atomic number is equal to number of protons, but atomic mass is equal to, if we talk about in general manner of the definition, then we can say that number of proton plus number of neutron is known as atomic mass. But if we see the definition of the atomic mass deeply, then we come across a definition that 1/12 part of the carbon atom's mass, 1/12 part of the C12 atom. Now we will talk about the C12 atom, because you have studied about the isotopes. Carbon exists in the form of different isotopes. Now what is isotope? First of all, let us understand what is isotope, and then we will understand the atomic mass. Let us understand isotope with the help of one example. Suppose we take the example of the carbon, and the atomic number of carbon is 6. So students, the atomic number of carbon is 6. That means carbon have 6 proton in its nucleus. So the number we write here, number of proton. Number of protons are 6 and number of neutrons are also 6. Also 6. So it's an atomic mass. Here we have seen the definition of the atomic mass is equal to number of proton plus number of neutron. So if we sum up the number of protons and neutrons, then we found that its atomic mass is 12. But students, if another carbon atom is found in nature which is of carbon atom and having the number of protons is equal to the first one, that is 6, but the number of neutrons are different from the first one. Now suppose it has number of neutrons 7, then what will be its atomic mass? Its atomic mass will be sum of the protons plus neutrons, so it will be 13. Now another carbon atom is found in nature in which the number of protons are 6 and number of neutrons are 8. Now students, its atomic mass will be 14. But all three, first, second and third are carbon having the same atomic number, but mass number are different. So here we have the definition of isotope, that the atom of the same element, it is very important, the same element, atom of the same element having the same atomic number, that is in this case it is 6, having the same atomic number but different mass number, then these atoms are known as the isotopes of that element. Got it student? The element of the atom of the same element having same atomic number but different mass number. And what is the reason behind having this different mass number? They have different number of neutrons in their nucleus. That is the reason why they have different atomic mass number, or simply we can say mass number. So students, let's now understand the atomic mass. The IUPAC definition, or we can say that the definition of the atomic mass at international level is that 1/12 part of C12 atomic mass of the carbon 12, and carbon 12 here means the first one whose atomic mass is 12. So whatever is the mass of the C12 atom, and it is here 12, but if we go in scientific notation, it is 12 point something something. So its 1/12 part is known as atomic mass. it is obviously, if in general it is equal to 1, because it has atomic mass 12 and 12 is divided by its 12th part is equal to nearly 1. In general calculations we considered it as 1. So students, it is atomic mass, the 1/12 of the mass of the C12 atom is called atomic mass. So students, this is all about the atomic number and atomic mass. Now we will see the existence of an atom, that how the atom exists in nature. So students, the existence of the atom, that means how the atom of the elements found in nature. If we see students, then most of the atoms does not exist freely in the nature. That means the element does not found in their purest form, but they always found in the form of the combination with the other elements. By the combination of the other elements, they form the molecules or compounds, molecules of the compounds. So students, always the atoms exist in the form of the molecules. Only a few elements, atom of the few elements exist in monoatomic form. That means we can separate the single atom of the elements, but most of the elements are found in the form of their molecules. Let's see which elements can be found in monoatomic form and which are found in different form of the molecules. The atoms like argon, neon, are exist in their monoatomic form. Monoatomic form, that means their single atom can be found in nature. The reason behind existence in monoatomic form is their inert nature. Inert nature, that means students, they does not combine easily with the other elements to form the compounds. The reason behind their inactivity is that their electronic configuration is most stable type of electronic configuration. That means their outermost shell is either full filled or completely filled. All the 8 atoms are present in their outermost shell, but some elements found in their molecular form, for example nitrogen, always exists in the form of N2 and it is not found in the form of N, or single atom of the nitrogen is not possible. Secondly, if we talk about the oxygen, then oxygen is also exists in the form of O2. The single atom of the oxygen is also not possible. We call these elements that they are found in the form of monoatomic. Their molecule is monoatomic or single atom, but the molecules of these atoms are diatomic. That means students, their molecule is form of the 2 atoms, but some other elements also exist in nature whose molecule is consist of more than 2 atoms also. For example, phosphorus. Phosphorus is found in the form of P4. Its molecule is tetravalent, your tetraatomic molecule, because in one molecules of the phosphorus there is existence of the 4 atoms. Next student, if we talk about the sulfur, then the molecule of the sulfur is polyatomic. Sulfur does not possess a fixed number of atoms in its molecule, but it can form its molecule with different numbers of atoms. There may be 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 atoms of the sulfur can make one molecule of the atom sulfur. So students, if we talk about the molecule, we have studied about the atom, but what exactly a molecule is? A molecule is nothing but it is the combination of the atoms in fixed ratio. Now, on the basis of the atoms that combine together to form the molecules, molecules can be of two types. One, we can see here that the atom of the nitrogen is combining with the nitrogen atom that are forming N plus N, giving N2. Here in the second case, oxygen combining with oxygen and forming O2. That means the molecule of the elements, the molecule in which same type of the atoms are present is called molecule of the element. So, molecules, one is molecule of elements, and second thing, just like when hydrogen combining with oxygen to form water molecule. Now, this is the molecule of the water, and two types of the atoms are present. One is of hydrogen and other is oxygen, types of the atom. But total two atom of the hydrogen and one atom of the oxygen is present. But if you consider the types, then two types of the atoms are present in one molecule of the water. So students, if the different types of the atoms form the molecule, then we call it compound. So second types of the molecules are molecules of compounds. Molecules of the molecule of a compound, two or more than two types of the atoms may be present there in a fixed ratio by mass. We always calculate the amount of the different atoms in the form of their mass. If we consider here the atomic mass of the hydrogen is 1 and 2 hydrogens are there, then we can say that 2 is to the atomic mass of the oxygen is 16. So 2 is to 16, or we can say it is 1 is to 8. That the amount of the hydrogen and oxygen in one water molecule is in the ratio of 2 is to 16, or we can say 1 is to 8 ratio. So students, atoms always possess the simplest type of the matter, which is called element, but molecules is the combination of two or more than two atoms. If the same atoms of the same element combining together and they are forming the molecule, we call it molecule of the elements. Molecule of the elements may be monoatomic. If one atom exists in the nature, we call it monoatomic. If two atoms combine together to form one molecule, just like nitrogen and oxygen, we call it diatomic molecule. And if more than two atoms combine together to form the molecule of the elements, then on the basis of the number of the atoms of the elements, we call them either tetraatomic, pentaatomic, hexaatomic, or if a single element exists in different molecules of the single element exist with the different numbers of the atoms, we call it polyatomic, just like sulfur. And if the different atoms combine together to form the molecules which can freely exist in the nature, always remember students, it is the property of a molecule that it exists in nature in free form. Either it is of the elements molecule or molecule of a compound. Nitrogen exists in the nature in the form of N2, oxygen exists in the form of O2, but their single atom of the nitrogen and single atom of the oxygen is not possible to obtain in nature, but it can be obtained in the form of molecule of atom and molecule of the element, or in the form of the molecule of other compound, just like oxygen is present in water. Here also oxygen is present, but it is in the form of water molecule. So this is known as the molecule of a compound which can freely exist in the nature. Next students, the atoms or the elements can also exist in the form of the ion. The first form of the existence of the atom is in the form of molecule, and second is in the form of ion. So let's see what is the meaning of ion, how they form. So the ions are nothing but the charged atoms of the elements. When there is a charge on the atom of an element, then we call it ions. Students, there are two types of charge. One is positive and second is negative. On the basis of the charge carried by the atoms, there are two types of the ions, that one is positive ion, that is cation, and second is negative ion, that is anion. Now students, let's see how these ions are formed in nature. In the beginning of the video, we have seen that in the center of the atom of an element, it is nucleus, and in nucleus the protons and neutrons are present, and outside the atom in the orbits electrons are present. Electrons are negative charge and protons are positively charged. Now we have also seen students that the total number of protons and total number of electrons in a neutral atom are always equal. So here we can say that number of protons is equal to number of electrons, or we can say that positive charge and negative charge is equal in a neutral atom. But here let's take an example that 11 protons are here and 11 electrons are here. So number of protons 11, number of electrons are 11, both are equal. Here the 11 positive particles and 11 negative particles both are cancelling the effect of each other, and the resultant of the charge is 0, and the atom is electrically neutral. Now if we add one more electron in this atom, by applying the energy, releasing the energy, we add one more electron in this atom, and the total number of electrons are 12. Then we can see here that the 11 positive charge will cancel out the effect of 11 negative charge, but the resulting one negative charge will be there. One more electrically negative charge will be there. So suppose this is X atom, the symbol of the atom is X, then it will be written as X minus, because one negative charge is there. It was the first case. In second case, if 11 protons are there and 11 electrons are there, and we remove one electron from this atom. Now if we remove the electrons, then number of protons will remains the same, 11, because we cannot change the number of protons in atom. But we can change the number of electrons by adding or removing, and in this case by applying the energy, we removed one electron from the outermost orbit of the atom. In this case students, the 10 electrons will cancel out the effect of the 10 10 protons, but effectively one positive charge will remains there. This 10 will cancel out the effect of the 10 proton and one positive charge will remains there, and then we will write it as X positive. In this way students, two types of the ions exist in nature. One is positive ion and another one is negative ion. These positive and negative ions are highly unstable and readily combined with other elements found in the nature to form the compounds of the elements. So, by combining with the other elements, they get stability and they exist in nature in the form of the compounds. So, students, always remember the atom exists in the form of two things. One is in the form of the molecules and second is in the form of the ions. In this way, the matter exists in nature.